When the creepy creeper says the girl is fertile, excuse me, sir, what the fuck? Hello everyone, author DL Tillery here, the Mistress of Horror, and welcome back to my channel. Before we get started, but you press that subscribe button and ring that bell so you know when I'm uploading new videos. Welcome to Mistress Mood and Candlelight, where I review horror movies, horror video games, and horror books while I put on makeup. This episode this month is the review run through of The Silence. I really liked this movie. It was very good. In a very silent, not so silent way. Creatures running amok, those type of things. And I'm going to give a warning in this review that this is a spoiler type review. If you have not seen the movie The Silence, check it out. It's on Netflix. If you have not seen that one, do not watch this review all the way through until you have looked at it. So that way nothing is ruined for you, because I do go into detail in most of my type of reviews because they're run-through reviews, meaning I talk about scenes and things, and I do talk about the ending. So you have been warned. If you have not seen The Silence and that type of thing bothers you, it makes you not want to watch the movie, go watch it first. I'll have the title in the description for you to check it out, and where I watched it as well, if you want to check it out before you watch this review and save it for later. If that doesn't bother you at all, then by all means go on and watch the video. I really do hope you enjoyed the review of The Silence. It was a creepy creature feature type of ride, and I will see you on the flip side. And welcome to the priming for the premiere of The Silence. I came across The Silence when I was looking through movies on Netflix, and it caught my attention because I saw the picture and I noticed the one character, like the actor playing the character, Stanley Tucci. I'm probably pronouncing his last name wrong, so it looked creepy, and it was called The Silence. So I hovered over it like you can on Netflix, and it played a little clip. And I saw that creatures were involved, so I was like, oh yeah, sold. Sold, because there's creatures. If it's something I'm usually into, and that being in this case monsters of any kind, I'm probably going to check it out. And it's the month of October, so I'm watching a lot of horror, but I've decided to pick this one for this specific show. I am primed for the premiere of Silence. So let's go ahead and jump into the characters. Before we get started, I'm actually going to say what I'm using today for makeup. I'm using my Nubian 2 palette. And I guess I'm just matching my clothing. I got like orange and green on today, but this is the palette I'll be working from. For my lips, I'm going to be using probably 4 different things. I usually mix my lipsticks to get the color I want, but since I'm going with like that palette, I'm going to use my Monster House. This is my Monster House, one of the lipsticks from that line. Came out for Halloween. I got that and a bunch of eyeshadows, and then I'm going to use the Milky. This is Milk Gloss. It is a colored Time Gob Cocoa. So it's a cocoa. And then I like a shine sometimes. So this is one of my NYX Professionals. And I believe this is color Left on Read, which is funny in referencing text, obviously. Left on Read. So yeah, and of course I'll have a black lipstick to use for a liner because I like to do that ombre style. Yeah. So those are the mains. Of course, I'll be using foundation and stuff. And foundation's a nightmare for someone with my skin tone, because when you're mixed, also, they don't have your skin tone in the bottle. Not even close. They'll show pictures of people who have similar skin tone as you, and when you buy it, it'll be nothing like your skin tone. So I'm really getting frustrated with the whole makeup market, and I'm really thinking about trying to start my own makeup line. And I'm going to be using a second palette as well, because I needed a black powder one as well, and I wanted to stick with the same line. So I'm going to be using this palette as my secondary palette. And this is the Saharan by Juba. So both of those are Juba's palettes. Using the chart there, the black there. So yeah, they have another one I really like in Sokoto, and then there is another gold there that I like. So we'll see. I'm gonna mix and match. That's what I do. So the cast, before we jump to the start of the movie, the cast is a father, a daughter, a young son, a mother, and a mother-in-law, meaning his mother-in-law, and a business and best friend of his as well in the cast. And so the story starts with archaeologist team digging through some cave wall to get inside some cavern. And after they dig in and they're like, oh, we got through, there's immediately creature sounds. Like, this is not waiting at all. So immediately the creature sounds start. And they're like, what? And then they come flying at them. They are attacked and destroyed. Just like that. They're gone. They got them. But they also, in this case of getting killed, help these things escape. So yeah, start a movie, then we switch scenes. Now it's time really for the cast. So the first character you see, I'm quite sure, is the daughter, whose name is Allie. And Allie is in high school, and she is, I guess school is done for the day. She's leaving school, and then she's monologuing and talking about how the story starts or whatever. And then these boys are behind her, and they're like picking on her, and they're making fun of her 'cause she's deaf. And I'm like, are you really, are you really, are you really right now? So they are bullying her. She doesn't hear them clearly, and she's monologuing, and then she kind of noticed someone across the way looking like, what are they doing? And so she kind of looks behind her at them, and they're like still making fun or something. And so she's like, whatever. And then she heads on home and walks away. Then in the meantime, they switch scenes and go to um, the older male, played by Stanley Tucci. His name is Hugh. Hugh. Because that's H-U-G? Hugh? Yeah, Hugh. So Hugh, and their last family name is Andrews. So Allie Andrews, Hugh Andrews. So you see him, he's at, new contract. Currently, he's like a person he doesn't really want to work with, but he's not trying to lose some work or whatever. So this dude's not reliable, apparently, from the way they're hinting at it. So, but there's another gentleman there with him. His name is Glenn. He is his best friend from high school, and they work together. He runs a construction company, and Glenn is more the one hands-on construction guy. So they work together, and then they're talking when they're leaving or whatever. And then he gets a call from his wife, Hugh, and her name is Miranda. So Miranda Andrews. And it cut to her and her son and her mother. It's her mother. So her mother's in the kitchen. She's talking about some tech or something the boy should have. She's like, well, he's 12, so blah. And the boy's name is Jude. And so Jude, Miranda, and the mother-in-law, which I don't remember what her name is, but I guess that's not important right now. And so they cut to him, and she cut to her, and she's telling him that what happened at school, because one of the parents informed her that they saw, I guess in passing, or they heard from their kid in passing, that these boys just trying to pick on her, and apparently this is not the first time. And he was like, but she's like, don't mention it to her, how she is. I just wanted you to know. And he's like, okay. So he, they go, scene switches back to the daughter, Allie. And then her boyfriend shows up, like, oh, he puts his hands over her eyes, and she's like, she notices him. He's like, how did you know it was me? And she's like, your hand smells like Twinkies, which I was funny. He's like, I washed them, I swear. Like, they do that? Smell Twinkies. Allie and Rob, who's her boyfriend, are walking. He's walking her home, and they're joking around, whatever. And then, like, they make a joke. He grabs her hand, like, oh, you blah. And then he holds her hand, like, that's how we know you're the boyfriend. So, she gets home and her brother's like, oh, Allie's home. And then her dog gets up and runs. He's a Rottweiler, really cute. And greets her and licking her. So he really much kind of claimed as her dog at this point. If you can, they kind of want it to be that way. So, the blah blah blah. The mom's like, "Oh, you got what's his name? Your boyfriend?" She's like, "No, we're friends." Yeah, okay. So do all young teenagers say that, but we know it's not. And then the dog stands up at the window, and his hair stands on end on his back, and she notices that she can't hear him barking really. So she goes to the window and looks up. He's barking up at the sky, and she's like, "What?" You know. So anyway, ominous feeling built. It's there. We're ready to go. Then scene switch is at night. Then you hear the parents. They're discussing. She's monologuing a little blah blah blah, and about like how she lost her hearing. Apparently, there was an car accident where she lost both her grandparents. I would imagine his parents, and she loses her hearing. So she wasn't born with lack of hearing. She lost it in a car accident. That specific car accident. So, she's on her tablet, her and Robert or Maxine or whatever, and then he sends her a video like, look at this online. It's like these weird bat things, like in a tornado style. And he's like, they're like, what? And then her father knocks on her door and they talk and chat, whatever. And she's talking about the boyfriend, and she's like, that and stuff, blah. He goes and leaves and goes to bed. Then it skips to 3 a.m. and mom's waking her up in the middle of the night, middle morning in this case. And so you need to get up now. Something's going on. So then they go down. She's like looking at the TV, and the TV saying like multiple U.S. cities are under attack. What the fuck? Glenn is there, so Glenn must have came over because of what was going on. So Glenn's on top of it. He's that type of guy. So he's there, and everyone's close to Glenn because he's best friends with their dad, and in the case of the wife, the husband. So he's there, and he's like, okay, well, let me go whatever check on something, and they see like helicopters going to a city, and they see what's going on TV, and they say you need to be. They show a video of a woman in a car on the road filming, and you see like blood on cars and stuff, and like they didn't see video clips of people being eaten. Their body parts are torn apart, like their legs and stuff, and the creature's screeching, and then the woman shows up a sign says you have to be quiet, right? And then her son's mouth is taped. I'm like, what the what? Okay. So they know they need to be quiet from whatever these creatures are. They haven't seen them yet, but they know they need to get out of there because they're really close to the city line. So they live right near the city line. So those monster things are going to be like right there. They're pretty much already there attacking the city. They decide that they're going to leave, even though they said stay put and blah blah blah. So they pack up both cars because Glenn is there. He packs up his car. He has a gun and things, and survival type stuff. And then they pack up everything and they leave. The grandmother is sick or something. She has medications and stuff, but she gets the daughter to pack that stuff for her. She also been smoking. She got caught smoking by the daughter. She's not supposed to be smoking because whatever affliction she has is like lung related. So yeah, she's not supposed to be doing that. So she's hiding it from her daughter, but her granddaughter knows. So that's, and it just, I guess, because something to do with the lighter later. But yeah. So they leave and take the dog with them, which I'm like, is that a good idea? I mean, I know he part of the family. I understand. Like, I've had pets. I get it. Like, you had them for so long, they're part of the family. But, like, my boy gonna be barking. And if my boy barks, the monster's gonna come. So, I don't... It's not the best laid plan. I mean, I know you love him and everything, but, like, maybe don't take him. Because more likely he gonna not make it or something. Is what I'm thinking. Because you already know you need to be quiet right at this point. So I was like, all right, y'all, go ahead then. Well, clearly, this is connected to the people breaking in the cavern through the wall. The archaeologists, people that are gone because they got murdered by those things. Well, these things are bad news. They are bad news. Anyway, once they leave and pull out, then they skip scenes, and then they go to the subway, because when they're leaving the city, it shows like a zoom out version of the city being swarmed by these flying bat looking no eye, teeth things, all teeth things. Nothing good here. Nothing good happening with that. So they go to the subway. Scene cuts to the subway, and everyone's stuck on the subway train, and they're trying to be quiet. Obviously, the monsters, and in the tunnels, they're going to the dark. So they're quiet, and everyone's looking at each other like, you better not make a sound, or I'm gonna choke your head. Like, that's how they looking at each other. And then a baby starts crying. Why had to be the baby? Like, why the baby had to start crying? So the baby's like, and the mother's trying to keep him quiet and give him a bottle. And then this dude come up like, listen, he grabs the baby from the mom, like, I'm putting this baby out there. And she's like, no, I'll go with her. I will go with her. And he's like, stops. And then she takes her baby back. Like, she takes her baby back, and then they goes out, and they like looking through the door at her. And the baby quiets down. And she's like walking into the darkness, lit by a little bit of the train's light. And then the further she gets, you can hear the creatures in the dark. I'm like, they done sent this woman out there to die with a baby. Like, they don't even care. I'm just saying, like, that's kind of, but hey, everybody worrying about their own survival. That's how it is. We all talking about the epidermis inclined beings. So, and then the baby's pacifier drops. Like, you think she would have been more careful? Like, the baby's crying because upset. Drops the pacifier, baby's like, it's all crying a little bit, and she's like, and then the creatures are, and then they start chasing her, and she's running, and then they get her, of course, and the baby. I guess they eat them alive, because they tear you apart. Like, they got claws and teeth, that's all they are. Claws, teeth, and wings. So they don't show the death, and this movie does seem to be, like, they don't show the characters that's alive, like, direct deaths. You may see someone passing bodies torn apart because they've already killed them. But yeah, so they didn't show that. I guess that's probably a good thing. Most people don't want to see that. So anyway, skip scene again. Back to the Andrews family on the road. Mr. Glenn and Jude Andrews, the young boy, he's driving with Glenn. He's driving with Glenn in his truck. He's in front of them because he's leading. And they decide they have to stop. They can stop for some gas or whatever. And you don't see any creatures in the weird direction that they're going because they're trying to go away from the city. And I'm sure everyone else has the same ideas. They didn't run into many people yet. So they stop, and then he says stay in the vehicle, the dad, so he gets out. And then the door says, I forget the dog's name, has to pee. So she takes him out to let him pee, and then there's this dude, and he pulls a gun, and he's like, the dog is barking at him, like, I'm gonna bite you. Like, I'm gonna bite you and protect my family. And the guy's like, give me your keys, because the father's like, what do you want, because he sees us. He said, what do you want? He said, give me your keys to your vehicle. Glenn's over there, had went inside the police. Glenn came out with his shotgun, was like, bomb, and shot the dude's leg, like, no, we're not giving you nothing. What we talking about? The guy drops his gun, like, please don't leave here with them. He's like, dude, I don't. Takes his gun, he's like, they roll out. I'm like, dude, you should have thought about that before you try to hijack a family's vehicle, though. So now you're supposed to care about leaving you there? That's not how this works, though, okay? Anyway, the roads become jammed. They get stuck in traffic because, of course, eventually they catch up with other traffic, and now it's a jam. It's a car jam. So everyone's stuck, and then Glenn's checking, and the father, Hugh, gets out and asks him, like, what are we doing? And he's like, all right, just follow me. So he, like, goes off road, like, goes in oncoming traffic. Not that there's any traffic coming that way. And then goes off road. I mean, this could be somewhat of a good idea, and Glenn seems very resourceful, but I don't know about that. Anyway, so that's what happens, and then not long after they're off road, because he calls him on the phone, he's like, okay, just follow me, blah, 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 and he's like, okay. So they're off road, dipping, diving, water, mud, And then, of course, road terrorists show up. Yeah, the deers show up, y'all. Of course, it's always the damn deers getting in the way, just popping out of nowhere, out the woods and whatnot, just messing up everybody's lives, just frolicking around. So they probably trying to escape the monsters from eating them too. Because listen, these flying monsters don't care. They eat animals, they eat everybody. So I can understand they probably was running from those things. And then it makes Glenn crash and his SUV flip over down the ravine. So they jump out, try to get to him. He's messed up. Of course, it flipped a few times, dinged up. His leg is caught. So he's trying to get him out best he can. I mean, make any noise that things will come. They're not far. So he's like, you're going to have to leave me. You're going to have to leave me. So Glenn is trapped, and they're trying to get him out. And like I said, he said, you can't leave me. You got to leave me. And he's like, I'm not leaving you. And then, of course, he got to. How he can't get him out. You need cutters. He said, well, let me try to go back to the main road and see if anyone has cutters. And I'm like who gonna have that? There ain't gonna be no firemen just sitting around. So yeah, it seems a bit hopeless. Let's be honest. So he is, hoping against hope that that's the case. And Glenn knows very well that that's not going to be the case. So, let him believe what he wants. He wants to save his friend. I get it. But, those things are nearby. So he goes back up the hill, like, I'm going to go try to get some help. And then, nope, those things are nearby. And the dog cannot keep fucking quiet. Like I said, the dog starts barking because those things are near, which draws them even more. And then as they're in the car, the things attack and swarm the car. Or the SUV. They're kind of in a mid-sized SUV. So all of them are like, and my grandmother tries not to scream, but she screams a little bit. But the things are already attacking. Like, the things are already attacking the car. So they, it's clawing up and they keep scratching the same spots that they try and get through. They know how to get through. So they're scratching and biting, and they stink apparently like shit. So they're scratching, and the dog is barking, and then Glenn hears them screaming or being attacked. So he had asked Hugh, to give him his guns. He said, I need my guns. So he gave him his guns. He hears them being attacked. So what does Glenn do? Being a hero, Glenn shoots the gun off so that they can come down and attack him. So of course they do. Of course they go attack Glenn. And you hear him screaming in the distance as he shoots off his gun, shooting a bunch of them, but they get him, of course. They don't show it directly because that's what this movie does. So, you probably want to see some of your characters you like being murdered. I'm just saying. So they, they're still up there, and then the things like, like, I know you up there still, and the dog is barking. He won't be quiet. They can't keep him quiet. The girl looks like, and the father looks, he grabs the dog around the neck. No, he didn't do what you think is gonna happen. He opens the back hatch. The dog jumps out. Back hatch closes. They got the dog, because he is barking his head off, and they go right for noise. So is the end of the dog. Everyone's upset. It had to be done. It was the dog or them. They're in the vehicle, and then after they're waiting for a while, so the things have, calmed down. They've been down there. They were attacking Glenn, and he didn't make it, obviously, so everything gets quiet. Then they're like up in the trees just waiting. So, the grandmother has like a asthma attack. I'm assuming she has a type of asthma, something that's, that can kill her, because she was kind of implying that whatever was going on with her is like, terminal. So, because she doesn't want the grandkids to know. And then, so she's having like a breathing attack. So, she can't be quiet. And then, so the father gets out while they're trying to get her inhaler to distract the thing. And there's one on top of the vehicle. So he goes to get the crowbar he dropped, and being quiet, gets the crowbar while scratching the top. And then he gets to it and it's listening. It's like, I heard something. And he gets to it, and then he throws it, and it clinks, and the thing goes for it, which he's able to get away and get back in the vehicle. And it flies off. So they know they can't stay there. They have to get out of there. On their way there, I forgot to mention that the daughter had been messaging her boyfriend, and he was staying put, him and his family. But that's the last time she got to talk to him, said that they were leaving, but, and so back to where we were, they leave, but they have to do it on foot. So the father takes a lighter. He asks the grandmother for the lighter, and her daughter looks like she doesn't smoke, and she's like, but I do. So they decided they were only going to use sign language with their family that uses sign language because of the daughter who is deaf. So they don't have to speak. He said only whispers and sign language. That's it. So they're doing that, and then so he goes and lights the Glenn's vehicle on fire so it can, grab the attention of the things when it semi combusts, because Glenn didn't make his bodies inside. Sad to say. I really liked him. Those things are distracted, so they go on foot, of course, because moving vehicle, what catch their attention because of the sounds that your vehicle make while active. So they go on foot, and then they go up to like up the hills and stuff because they're in like wooded area. And then while they're sitting and trying to gather themselves, the son looks through binoculars and spots a cabin. So he like tells his dad, and then they decide they're gonna head towards the cabin. They get to the cabin, they can't get in because there's like a big fence around it, but there's like a little tunnel pipe thing. So the father goes through it, gets through under the fence, goes into the house. It looks like someone left out in a hurry or to check something. He doesn't see anybody, but then he sees that there's a boot or foot out of like a fire pit outside, and things are gathered. They're eating this person. So he ways his family to come on. They go through the tunnel. Why now all of a sudden there's a rattlesnake inside there? Like a snake inside there, a dangerous snake, and then it makes a snake sound, of course. And then one of the creatures hears, and it goes for the snake in the tunnel on the other side. So when it goes in there, it's like killing the snake, and then that makes more noise, and then the mother goes makes a sound, and then the other things come from the other end and bite her leg up and claw it up. But they get loose because the father runs and starts a wood chipper, and then the things are like going for the wood chipper and going right in and grinding their little bodies up. His family, he gets them inside, and wife is wounded now, so they're all in there, and they're trying to treat her wounds, but they don't have any antibiotics, and she's getting infected. The grandmother was a registered nurse, so she knows that she says it's spreading. Once they saw the next morning that it wasn't doing no good, so you're gonna have to get some kind of antibiotics. He goes, and him and the daughter go in town. There's a small town nearby, so they go there, and when they get there, this guy spots them who's wearing like a priest robe. So obviously he's a zealot, because apparently the girl was looking online, and there's a bunch of people, humans being humans, doing things they shouldn't be doing. And then it was like religious cults and stuff was popping up, and then like, you need to do the way we say it because this is the end of times, blah blah blah. So this is one of these dudes. So he spots them. They don't see him. We do. And they go into this pharmacy. They get like the antibiotics. But while the father's looking for the antibiotics and finds them, the girl notices the dead people in there. And then she lifts one of the shirts, and it's eggs, like these nice sized eggs of these creatures in it. And they're laying eggs in these people's bodies after they killed them. Like they're using them for like cavern hosts or something. So she's like, and then her dad like comes around the corner, but one of the things is like right there, because she kind of like one of the eggs like squirt, and she goes makes a sound, and then the creatures come over like, what was that? Those things are getting like trapped a little bit. So she looks at, and there's sprinkler system. So she looks at her dad. He has the lighter. So he says, grab the mop, sign language, and using sign language. And when she grabs the mop, he lights it, makes the fire alarm go off. They get out while all the noise, because the things are losing their minds. They try and get to the sound and not paying attention to them. They escape. And they get back outside and head back the way they came, out the little town. The dude's right there, like blocking the way. He got like his arms spread or whatever. And I'm like, here we go. So they walk, and they try to like avoid him. Like, we're not even engaging this guy. He looks like he's crazy, because he is. So they try to go around them. He comes right in front of them again. They're like, what do you want, guy? And he's like writing on a pad. Dude writes on the pad, join us. Sir. You can't even escape Jehovah's Witnesses like in the apocalypse, dude. Like, what? He ain't even got a door, and they coming at you. Anyway, so after they say like no, he sees the girl, she sign language to her dad like he's weird. He doesn't know sign language. He's like, so the probably like gets around them, and then they get around him, and like they glance back, and he's like, they're looking, and then when they turn it back, he like opens his mouth, and his tongue is mutilated. Like he can't speak anyway. He had cut his own tongue out, I believe. So that being said, they look back again, and he's gone. I'm like, this guy's gonna follow them. Like, he's gonna follow them. They go back, and then get the mother antibiotics, because they told the son said they're back, and then they give her antibiotics. She's in better. And then after a little while, the mom's like, there's somebody at the door. Like someone outside. Like it's of course the Zelody dude, and he got some of his people with him. And then he's like waiting, and then the father's like, I guess I gotta go talk to him. So he goes open the door, and mom's like, "You gonna take your gun? I'm gonna take the gun." And he's like, I'm thinking like, I don't need the gun. So he goes out and tries to talk to him. Like, what do you want? Being real quiet. The guy smiles, and some of them creepily smiling at them. Like it's like two other women and some guys. They're looking really weird. And then he holds up his pad like, join us. And he's like, no, I'm good. We good. And then he's like, follow our example. He writes on the paper, and he's like we're no, you know what I mean, like. And then he asks for the pad, and then he writes, and then the guy looks at the pad, and it says, "Leave us alone, please." He looks up like annoyed, and then he writes like he's ready, like I'm gonna go inside, and he kind of like signals like he's and he stops, and then he writes on the pad, and then he holds the pad up like the family's looking out the window this time, like they're watching the whole thing. Why he write on the pad? The girl is fertile. Why did he write the girl is fertile? So, like any dad, he looks like that, goes back inside, grabs his shotgun, comes out and points it at him. Because the guy turned around, like, yeah, that's right, they're going to give you the girl, so she's fertile. And then the girl, one of the women turns, like, pulls him, like, look. And he's, like, smiles because he got a shotgun pointed at him. And he looks up at the air, like, you ain't going to do nothing because some creatures are flying around. And he's, like, cocks the gun, like, pulls the safety off. And he's, like, and then writes on there, shh. And he's like, ready in the gun, like, go ahead, I'm gonna shoot you, nonetheless. And then so they turn around, and the guy smiles to them, and then they leave. I'm like, they coming back. So why they go to bed that night, resting and stuff? I've been having that gun aimed at the doors and watching everything. It'll be no resting. So anyway, they resting. Big surprise, little girl show up at the door. So I looked out, didn't want nobody, and the son looked out, and then there's a little girl. And then they let her in. Like, why are you letting her in? She's clearly sent by the crazies. They let the little girl in, and they're trying to question, like, how'd you get here? Like, why'd you come here and stuff? And she can't talk. You know why she can't talk? Because her tongue's gone, that's why. So she'll get her open her mouth, and you see the tongue on, she's a part of that little crazy regime or whatever. And then all of a sudden their cell phones, the daughter's still sleeping upstairs, like, why didn't y'all wake her up when you saw hearing sounds? And then, like, she goes to her window, she sees something reflected on it. It's a fucking cell phone. And then the little girl, she's strapped with a wrist, like a waist of cell phones. And the alarms start going off. Then the creatures start attacking the place, the windows and everything under attack. Because they've been strapped cell phones onto windows and stuff to make alarms go off so the things come for them. Like, what? Just to get this girl. They want the girl. They want his teenage daughter. What the hell? So I can't. So the monsters are attacking because of the sound that they make off. They drowned the cell phones from the little girl who had them. She's sitting there like confused. Like this little girl's like 8 maybe. You know what I mean? And then so they're like, oh my god. And then the daughter upstairs, like one busts through the window, she runs downstairs. So they're all in the same room together. And then more, they got those stuff, but it gets quiet. And then more alarms start going off in different parts of the house. They must have them outside the window. Creatures crashing in, trying to get them. Then like the people show up and grab the daughter from the other room while the father's trying to block the other window, and the mother tries to fight him off. They hit her over the head, she falls. Grandmother's trying to help her fight it, and they get the girl, get outside, but the mother's knocked down. Grandmother goes after, and she grabs, and she looks her granddaughter in the eyes like, I have to save you. And you know what she's going to do. So she grabs the guys, 3 of them trying to grab the girl. The girl gets loose and runs. The grandmother grabs them to their legs and screams. So you know what happens. Things get her, tear the dudes apart. At the same time, the father and the mother comes outside, sees her mother get killed, and then the father comes out, and then the guy shows up and puts a knife to the girl's neck, and they try, we taking her, and then they all turn around like they see creatures up in the air, but we gonna fight. So they chase after them. One has a sickle, the sickle, like the claw thing. Is the boy has it? He hits one person. The mother has some. She hitting them. The father has a weapon, and they fighting them. And then they, him and the guy stabs the father in the stomach. The mother is fighting the other person, and it's like, then since the father's stabbed, the guy is wounded too because they were fighting, and then he has a shotgun, but he's like beating the dude's head and end up beating the dude's head in with the gun. So the other people that was with the woman and the girl, they kind of look at them and they help their father who's wounded back in the house. Unfortunately, the grandmother's passed away, but it's the four of them now. And the girl and the young girl and the other woman that was with the crazy zealot dude, they walk back to go back to the town they came from. So leader's dead, so it doesn't matter. They were just doing what he wanted because he's crazy. So they're back in the house, so they decide that they read online that you can go north. There's some refuge there because north is up in the mountains where it's cold. Apparently these things don't like cold. They hinted at and said. So once they're on the way, they find some vehicles close by there that have a little power. The girl check her internet and see that her boyfriend did reply back to her last message, and he said, get north. The refuge is there. Are you okay? So he's still alive. So they get to the place where the refuge is, and they are okay for now because apparently these things don't like the cold, but they could adapt. And it goes into a monologue with Allie, because it's really kind of like Allie's in her father's movie, but Allie like monologues and says these things don't like the cold, but I wonder if they can adapt like they did from so long ago, and we need to adapt as well, or can we adapt, something like that, moral of the story. But then they show like her shooting an arrow through one of the ones that had killed the animals, planting its eggs in it. And then her boyfriend, you see him, they're out hunting the things that's close by the place that they're staying, I guess, the refuge place. And it ends. Bam, like that. The movie is done. I'm done. And I liked it. I thought it was decent. Now the ending was kind of, I don't know. I think it could have been more conclusive. It could have been closed out better. I mean, what else you want to do? It's not like they just magically could beat the things. So many of them, millions, and they're apparently laying eggs left and right. They're just having all kinds of sex everywhere. So yeah, I guess it really couldn't have been much of a different type of ending or whatever. It was good. It wasn't bad. Just that the ending was kind of iffy for me. I think I would have preferred a different ending, but I didn't write it, so what can I say? It was okay film. It's decent monster horror. Except for I never like when they put all the human stuff in it, like humans attacking humans. I don't need to. That doesn't need to be a prominent part of it. I know a lot of humans like that, but I'm not really interested in that. I'm interested in monsters and upcoming or overcoming monsters or being destroyed by the monsters. I don't really want to watch humans because that's a problem that happened with The Walking Dead. It became more just about humans attacking humans, and like I don't care. Let's make a movie, make a detective show then, or make a serial killer movie or show if you want to make it about humans killing humans and humans going crazy and doing what they shouldn't do and things like that. Like, stay on topic. Let's stay on topic of like the creatures and stuff like that. I really don't care about human monsters. Like they're more of their stories like humans are the worst monsters. Like, really, you think so? They're really not though. Just so we're clear, there could be way worse things than humans and humans doing messed up human things. But if you want to make something about that, then go ahead. But don't stop mixing that in there. I have zero interest in that. Like, whatever. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents on that. But it still was decent. I enjoyed it for what it was. And it was an interesting take on being quiet in the creatures. It's not the first time, but it won't be the last either. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this review run through of The Silence. And I'll see you in the next one. Happy Halloween season and stay scared.